Everyone, welcome to the session on signals and systems. So up to the last class we completed the concept of the correlation of the signals. So entire concept with respect to the correlation we completed. So in this class we are going to start the new chapter, so which is the Laplace transforms. So which is your Laplace transforms. So this class is the introduction class to the Laplace transforms. So when it comes to the Laplace transforms, so in fact every transform, so the first point with respect to the Laplace transform is, so the Laplace transform is an integral transform. So this is Laplace transform. LT stands for Laplace transform. So E is an integral transform. So the Laplace transform is an integral transform. I will tell you. So what is integral transform? So the Laplace transform is an integral transform. So from this class onward we are going to start. So we are going to learn the Laplace transforms concept. So the first point with respect to the Laplace transform is, so it is an integral transform. So like Fourier transform, you already know the Fourier transform. Fourier transform is also an integral transform. So before that, what is an integral transform? So why we are going to study this Laplace transform? So what is the necessity of studying this Laplace transform? So what are the different transformation techniques available to represent a time domain signal into the frequency domain representation? So we are going to represent a time domain signal into the frequency domain representation. Now the various techniques we have available are, the number one is the Fourier series. Fourier series. Using the Fourier series, we express the signal x of t. So in terms of the harmonics. Harmonics are nothing but your sine and cosine terms. So that is the transformation techniques which is available to represent a time domain signal into the frequency domain. So when we represent this signal in the frequency domain, we have the lot of advantages. So we simplify the calculations. That is the main advantage. So already we discussed those advantages of representing a time domain signal into the frequency domain. But the various tools available to represent a time domain signal into the frequency domain are, the first one is the Fourier series. Fourier series. Using the Fourier series, we represent any signal, so which is of periodic signal. So the limitation on the Fourier series is, there is a limitation on the Fourier series. So using the Fourier series, we only represent the periodic signals. So if it is a periodic signal only, we can express the periodic signal in terms of the frequency components. That is the limitation on the Fourier series. Therefore, so we are going to study the Fourier transform. So this is also a powerful tool to represent the time domain signal into the frequency domain. Since there is a limitation on the Fourier series, so this is only applicable to the periodic signals. So we are going to study the Fourier transform. So using this Fourier transform, we are going to represent any signal, whether the signal is periodic or a periodic signal, we are going to represent in terms of the frequency domain. But the limitation here is the signal must be absolutely integrable signal. So the signal must be absolutely integrable signal. So that is a limitation on the Fourier transform. So Fourier transform is applicable to any type of signal, but the condition is it only applicable to the absolutely integrable. So when you integrate your signal in between minus infinity to plus infinity, so you should get less than infinity value. So that is the meaning of the absolutely integrable signal. So Fourier transform is a limitation is there. So that limitation we are going to overcome, so using the Laplace transforms. So the third method we are going to use is the Laplace transform. So Laplace transform is a generalized transform. We can use any type of signals. For Fourier transform, we can use only for the stable systems. If the signal is unstable, that signal we cannot represent, so in terms of the frequency domain. So to overcome the limitation, there is a limitation on Fourier transform. So to overcome that limitation, so we use the generalized technique to represent the time domain signal into the frequency domain, which is the Laplace transform. So we can use this Laplace transform for any type of signal. There is no limitation on this Laplace transform. So we can use this Laplace transform for unstable system also. So for unstable system also, we are going to represent the time domain signal in terms of the frequency domain. So using the Laplace transform. So whatever the limitations on Fourier series and Fourier transforms are there, so those limitations we can overcome with the help of the Laplace transform. So the Laplace transform is a powerful mathematical tool So to represent the time domain signal into the frequency domain, all these are transformations. So why these are transformations? Because we are going to represent the signal from the time domain to the frequency domain. Therefore, whatever we discussed, the Fourier series, Fourier transform, and the Laplace transform, so all are the transformations techniques, so which are used to convert the time domain signal into the frequency domain. So to overcome the limitations in the Fourier series and Fourier transforms, we use the Laplace transforms. So when it comes to the Laplace transform, so this class is the introduction class to the Laplace transforms. So the first point with respect to the Laplace transform is Laplace transform is an integral transform, So the meaning of the statement is, so if I consider the equation like this, so the integral transform is of this form. So integral minus infinity to plus infinity. Here the integral transform is of this form. So here f of t, so e power, so f of t into, so any transform of this form, so we call it as an integral transform. So let us observe this equation. So g of alpha equal to integral minus infinity plus infinity f of t, so which is the time domain signal, which is your input, so into k times alpha comma t, so dt. So this is the form of the integral transform. So any transform of this form, so this is the integral transform representation. Here g of alpha is nothing but your output, f of t is the input, which is the function of the time domain. Here k of alpha comma t is the integral kernel. So this is the integral kernel. So here this is a function of both alpha and t. So this integral kernel is the function of both alpha and t. Here g of alpha is the output, which is the function of alpha, and f of t is the input, which is the function of time domain, and there is another function which is the function of both alpha and t. That function is what we call as the integral kernel. So the any transform of this form is a integral transform. We call it as the integral transform. Now if you observe the Fourier transform, of the time domain signal, so the Fourier transform of the time domain signal is what? So x of j omega. So that is the Fourier transform of x of t. Observe the Fourier transform equation. So Fourier transform of x of t is what? So it is a mathematical tool to convert the time domain signal. Here x of t is what? The input signal. X of j omega is what? The output signal. So here x of j omega is what? So integral minus infinity to plus infinity. Here the input signal is x of t e power minus j omega t dt. So this is your Fourier transform. Already we know this formula, Fourier transform. So it is a powerful tool to convert the time domain signal into the frequency domain. Here x of j omega is output, which is a function of omega, and a small x of t is your input, which is the function of time, and here this is called the integral kernel. So this is called the integral kernel, so which is the function of both omega and t. E power minus j omega t is the function of both omega and t. Therefore this is called the integral kernel. So this is the integral transform. This is the of the form integral transform. So a Laplace transform is also an integral transform. So like the Fourier transform, the Laplace transform is also the integral transform. This is the first point with respect to the Laplace transform. What is an integral transform? Any transform of this form, we call it as the integral transform. So we already seen the representation of the Fourier transform in terms of the integral transform. So like this we have the Laplace transform also. So this is the first point with respect to the Laplace transform. So the Laplace transform is an integral transform. So any transform of this form, we call it as the integral transform. So here I represent the Fourier transform in terms of the integral transform. So in this representation, this is your output, this is your input, and this is the function with respect to the function of omega and t. So this is the first point with respect to the Laplace transform. So when it comes to the second point with respect to the Laplace transform, see the Laplace transform is a general case of, so the Laplace transform we are going to study is a general case of Fourier transform, So Laplace transform we are going to study is a general case of the Fourier transform. So, and the representation is like this. So this is the signal given to you, time domain signal is given to you. So if we apply the Laplace transform for this time domain signal, so it is converted into the frequency domain, which is S domain, capital F of S. Time domain signal is small f of t, frequency domain signal is capital F of S. So the inverse is also possible. So if you apply the inverse Laplace transform of f of s, we will get the time domain signal. So these two are called the Laplace transform pairs. These two are called the Laplace transform pairs. Now how can you define this Laplace transform of a signal f of t? How can you define this Laplace transform of a signal f of t? So the Laplace transform of f of t, a time domain signal, is equal to the signal in the frequency domain. So that is your f of s. So that is equal to, so integral minus infinity to plus infinity. Here the signal, time domain signal, is f of t. So e power minus st dt. So this is the integral transform. Like Fourier transform, the Laplace transform is also the integral transform. So this is your output, which is a function of a complex variable. S is a complex variable we have, and this is your input. This is your input, and this is your integral kernel. So this is your integral kernel function. So which is a function of both s and t. This integral function, here we have the function of both s and t. So this is the definition of the Laplace transform. This is the definition of the Laplace transform. And if you observe this formula is of this form. So of this form, therefore the Laplace transform is a integral transform, like the Fourier transform, Here s is called the complex variable or complex frequency. Here x is called the complex frequency, or what we call as the complex variable. So, and the s is representation of s is sigma plus j omega. Sigma plus j omega is the complex variable s. Time domain signal is going to be converted, is going to be represented in terms of the s plane. Here sigma is called the damping factor. Here sigma is called the damping factor. So with the help of sigma, we are going to analyze the stability of the system. So omega is called angular frequency. So measured in radians per second. So what is the importance of sigma? Sigma is a damping factor. Using this sigma, we are going to analyze the stability of the system. Omega is the angular frequency. Measured in terms of the radians per second. So you can remember this formula. So the entire the Laplace transform depends on this formula only. So you should remember this formula. The Laplace transform of the time domain signal is equal to the integral minus infinity to plus infinity f of t into e power minus st dt. So this is the formula we are going to use to analyze the various types of signals under the using the Laplace transforms. So the next point with respect to the Laplace transform is, this is the first point. Laplace transform is an integral transform. So any transform of this form, we call it as the integral transform. So in the integral transform, we have the output, which is a function of alpha. This is the representation of the integral transform. If you take the Fourier transform and if you take the Laplace transform, both the Fourier transform and Laplace transform are nothing but the integral transforms, because the transform is of this form only. Both the Laplace transform and Fourier transform of this form only. Therefore, the transforms are called in the integral transforms. And this is the formula we are going to use to represent the time domain signal into the frequency domain. So when it comes to this next point with respect to the Laplace transforms, so the next point with respect to the Laplace transforms is so Laplace transform. So we have the various types of the Laplace transforms. So when it comes to the types of the Laplace transforms, so we have two types of the Laplace transform. One is the bilateral Laplace transform. So one is bilateral Laplace transform. So whatever the transform we are going to study under the signals and system subject, we are going to study the bilateral transform only, or this transformation what we called as the double-sided. So double-sided Laplace transform. So this is also called as the double-sided Laplace transform. How we are going to define this double-sided Laplace transform? So the double-sided Laplace transform is going to be defined in this fashion. So Laplace transform of f of t is equal to capital F of s. Here we are going to use the time domain signal is f of t. Therefore, the representation of Laplace transform of f of t is capital F of s. So if I take small x of t, representation is capital X of s. You can take any type of representation. You can take any variable. So what is f of s for bilateral Laplace transform? The bilateral transforms is defined from minus infinity to plus infinity. So that is, you can observe here, e power minus st dt. So this is what we call as the bilateral Laplace transform. So the bilateral Laplace transform is used to analyze both the causal and non-causal systems, because it is defined from minus infinity to plus infinity, both on positive real axis side and both on negative real axis side. We are going to analyze the signal. Therefore, this is a bilateral Laplace transform or double-sided Laplace transform. So when it comes to the unilateral Laplace transform, so when it comes to the second type, so which is the unilateral. So unilateral Laplace transform, or what we call as one-sided Laplace transform. So one-sided Laplace transform is only applicable to analyze the causal systems only, because causal system is one. Here the signal is only defined for t greater than or equal to 0. So whenever the signal is defined for only t greater than or equal to 0, so we restrict the limits. No need to do the minus infinity to 0. So we eliminate from minus infinity to 0. Therefore, we perform the integral operation only from 0 to infinity, only from 0 to infinity. So f of t is a causal system. F of t is a causal system because it is defined only for time t greater than or equal to 0. So whenever the causal systems are given, so we restrict the limits of the integration from 0 to infinity only, because from minus infinity to 0, the function value is 0. No need to do the integral operation. Therefore, this transformation what we call as the unilateral Laplace transform. The unilateral Laplace transform. So the unilateral Laplace transform or one-sided Laplace transform is defined from 0 to infinity only. So why? Because here f of t is a causal signal. Here f of t is a causal signal. What is causal signal? The signals which are defined on the positive real axis side only are called the causal signals. So when causal signals are given, use the unilateral Laplace transform. So if you want to analyze both causal and non-causal signals, we are using the bilateral Laplace transform. For the bilateral Laplace transform, we are going to take the integral limits from minus infinity to plus infinity. So for unilateral Laplace transform, we are going to take the limits from 0 to infinity. So that is the observation. So these are the two types of the Laplace transform we are going to discuss, but we mainly use this bilateral Laplace transform only throughout this subject. No need to study this unilateral Laplace transform. So depends on the signal given. So we use the formula. Whether we are going to use the bilateral or we are going to use the unilateral, that depends on the entirely depends on the signal given to you. So this is about the types of the Laplace transform. This is about the types of the Laplace transform. So next point we will discuss with respect to the Laplace transform is this is a very important point. So many times given in the examination for the 2 marks question. So the relationship between the Laplace transform and the Fourier transform. So what is the relationship between the Laplace transform and the Fourier transform? Now, what is Laplace transform of the time domain signal? So the Laplace transform of the time domain signal is capital F of s. So which is equal to integral minus infinity to plus infinity. Here the time domain signal is f of t e power minus st dt. Here s is a complex frequency which is sigma plus j omega. So therefore, so what is f of s here? So your f of s, which is the Laplace transform of f of t, is equal to integral minus infinity to plus infinity here. So here f of t, the time domain signal, so e power minus of sigma plus j omega times t into dt. I just substitute s in the place of s by sigma plus j omega, because your s is nothing but a complex frequency which consists of real and imaginary parts. So real part is a damping factor which can be used to analyze the stability of the system. Omega is the frequency, angular frequency. Now if you rearrange in this expression, so we'll get integral minus infinity to plus infinity here. So f of t, so e power minus sigma t into e power minus j omega t dt. Now we observe clearly here, I just considered integral minus infinity to plus infinity. Here f of t into e power minus sigma t, so I consider it as f1 of t. So f1 of t into e power minus j omega t dt. So I just consider the f of t into e power minus sigma t is f1 of t, another signal f1 of t. Here the given signal is f of t. I just multiply f of t by this function e power minus sigma t, so that I can get the new signal which is f1 of t, f1 of t. Now we observe this formula. So what is this formula? So this is nothing but what? So the Fourier transform of what? Here f1 of t. We just observe this formula. What is the Fourier transform of f1 of t? So it is integral minus infinity to plus infinity f1 of t into e power minus j omega t dt. Therefore the Fourier transform of f1 of t is what? What is our left hand side, which is Laplace transform of f of t. I just write here. So the Laplace transform of f of t is equal to what? So is equal to the Fourier transform of, so f1 of t, f1 of t, that is your right hand side. Now what is f1 of t? So the Fourier transform of, so what is f1 of t? So f1 of t is, so f of t is multiplied by e power minus sigma t. So that is your f1 of t. How can you get f1 of t? If you multiply e power minus sigma t by f of t, will get what? So f1 of t, f1 of t. Now if you clearly observe, if I want the Laplace transform of a time domain signal, how can I get Laplace transform of f of t? So if you perform the Fourier transform of f of t into e power minus sigma t, then only you will get the Laplace transform of f of t. That is the meaning of this statement. Clearly observe the meaning of this statement. How can you get Laplace transform of f of t? If you want to get the result of the Laplace transform of f of t, so you should perform this operation. You should perform this operation. That is the meaning of this statement. So what is this operation? This operation is nothing but the Fourier transform of f1 of t, f1 of t. So if you perform the Fourier transform of f1 of t, you should get the Laplace transform of f of t. Now we will recall one important note. So if you want to perform the Fourier transform, so your signal here is absolutely integrable signal. Absolutely integrable signal. That is the limitation on the Fourier transform. So what is the limitation on the Fourier transform? If you want to find the Fourier transform of any signal, the signal must be absolutely integrable. That means so if I want to find the Laplace transform of f of t, so my signal here, whatever my signal here, that signal must be absolutely integrable signal. That means if you find out the modulus of your signal in between minus infinity to plus infinity, so you should get what? So you should get less than infinity value. So this is very important point. So this is very important. You just observe this statement. Laplace transform of f of t is, so if you want to find out the Laplace transform of f of t, so one should find out the Fourier transform of f1 of t. But there is a limitation on the Fourier transform. So what is that limitation? Here the signal f1 of t is absolutely integrable. So what is the meaning of this absolutely integrable? So when you perform the integral operation from minus infinity to plus infinity, for the modulus of this signal, you should get a less than infinity value. You should get a finite value. So then only the Fourier transform is existence. Otherwise the Fourier transform is not existence. If the signal is not absolutely integrable signal, we cannot perform the Fourier transform. Therefore, to find out the Laplace transform of f of t, so this condition must be satisfied. So this condition must be satisfied. Otherwise we cannot find out the Laplace transform of f of t. Otherwise we cannot find out the Fourier transform of this signal. So you should remember this condition. This is very important condition. So any signal, if you want to find the Laplace transform, that signal must satisfy this condition. Otherwise we cannot find out the Laplace transform for such type of signals. Now when it comes to the relationship, so if I take sigma equal to 0 in the above equation, if I take sigma equal to 0, now what is the condition? What is the relationship between the Laplace transform and the Fourier transform? So the Laplace transform of f of t is nothing but the Fourier transform of the signal f of t. E power sigma is 0, so e power 0 is 1. Therefore the Laplace transform of f of t is nothing but what? the Fourier transform of Laplace transform of f of t is equal to the Fourier transform of your f of t, So this is the relationship between the Laplace transform and the Fourier transform. So that is the relationship between the Laplace transform and the Fourier transform. So the Laplace transform, therefore Laplace transform is a generalized case of the Fourier transform. So if we evaluate the Laplace transform at s equal to j omega, so we will get what? We will get the Fourier transform. So if we evaluate the Laplace transform, which is at s equal to j omega, so you should get what? The Fourier transform. So this is the relationship between the Laplace transform and the Fourier transform. So one should remember this condition. So this is very important condition. Based on this condition only, so we are going to find out the Laplace transform of the various signals. So when it comes to the bilateral Laplace transform, so when you define the Laplace transform of any signal, bilateral signal, so you just write down the, besides that signal, you just write down one term which is called the ROC. So when we define the Laplace transform of a bilateral signal, to the right hand side of this signal, you just write the ROC. Here ROC stands for region of convergence. So region of convergence. So you just note down this region of convergence. So we will discuss this region of convergence in the next class. But whenever we define the Laplace transform of any signal, so besides that signal, you just note down this factor. This factor is very important. This term, note down this term. So besides this f of s, you just write the ROC of this signal, which is the region of convergence. That means the region of convergence is nothing but for what values of sigma. So we define this Laplace transform. So under what values of sigma? Here s is what? Sigma plus j omega is nothing but s. So for certain values of sigma only, the Laplace transform is valid in the s plane. So when you draw the s plane, this is your s plane. So on the y-axis we have j omega axis. So on the x-axis we have the sigma axis. So this is your s plane. So the Laplace transform, after finding the Laplace transform of any signal, so you just plot this s plane. This s plane is the region of convergence. We are going to define this ROC under this s plane, because for certain values of sigma only, the Laplace transform of a particular signal is valid. So for those values of sigma, the Laplace transform is valid. Those values are nothing but the region of convergence. So the ROC is nothing but region of convergence. For what values of sigma? Your signal is finite. Your signal is going to be converge. That is called the region of convergence. I will tell you in detail this region of convergence. Very important concept. So in the next class. But you should remember, so while defining the bilateral Laplace transform of any signal, so besides that signal, you just to write the ROC. So if you are not writing the ROC, means this problem is wrong problem. So definitely you should write the ROC of that signal. ROC is nothing but the region of convergence. When you find the Laplace transform of any signal, so besides that signal, so you just write this ROC. If you are not writing the ROC, means it is a wrong problem. Definitely you should mention the ROC. Definitely you should mention the ROC besides this f of s. Then only this problem is correct. The solution for the problem is correct. Otherwise this problem is entirely wrong problem. If you are not mentioning the ROC of the particular signal after finding the Laplace transform, so your solution is wrong solution. So this is about the introduction to the Laplace transform. In the next class we are going to study in detail the region of convergence problem. So see you in the next class, all of you.